I feel like there's this whole idea that we should just like make our own thing, which by the way is not a bad thing. But you can't put everybody in that box. Like I love, like, for example, listening to Kasiva Mutua. Like what a Kenyan sounding project that
Yep.
is, right?
Yep.
And it's amazing that we have people in our industry who are doing that, right? But Sam, it would be boring, in my opinion, if everybody
It's very
only
one-dimensional,
did that.
isn't it? Yeah, we're all doing.
It would
the
be
exact
too
same.
one-dimensional.
Yeah.
I'm on a Batman thing.
Rockstar shughuli ya madem yuko unbeatable. Rally mukwe lamna kan kondani nko zone. Alafu kuna venye mini msesnanga story mob. Mr. Jichocha nkidai kukusho kitu na prefer. Ikwe physical, check ikwe physical. Physical, check ikwe physical. Story sidai na sizitaki kabisa. No maana walidai, action is louder than words.
Wesi mtoxic, weni mtovu wa nidhamu. Ndani ya Royce adropiwe Roy Sambu. Hakuna free ride, labda Mariamu. Na sakamula nkule mlami kule Lamu. Pesa ya P-Tool kula chips.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 156 of the 30% podcast, hosted by yours truly, a fine African man, aka Afamefuna, and Sam Are Jedediah Eliapenda, aka the greatest producer, creative director, and just all-around nice guy.
This is what happens when you don't plan your compliments early. This is what happens when you don't write down your compliments.
I am speaking straight facts. Both of us are the hosts of this podcast you are listening to, called the 30% podcast, which we started to highlight Kenyan music and the Kenyan music industry. And lastly, shout out to you guys for listening to us for as long as you have been. Sam, what's up? How have you been? What you been up to?
I am all right. I'm cool. I am okay. It's just been chill. The sun was out earlier today and now it's raining. Had some good food. Ate some ice cream.
Sun's out, buns out.
Sun's out, buns in. Actually, my buns are in the house. My buns are in the house. But yeah, did that. It's been cool. Just been inside, being creative. You know. How are you? I need to have more energy. How are you, Afam? Oh my goodness, how are you doing? Goodness, it's so good to hear from you and speak to you finally.
No, but don't make it sound fake. Don't
Yeah,
make
my
it
bad.
sound
Make
fake,
that sound
though.
fake. That's
Come
not
on,
real
make
to
it
me.
sound genuine.
That's how I talk all day. Every day. What's going on, man? How's New York?
Nah, I've also been good, bro. New York is cool. Literally, it's really cooling down. I've been working on music. I made a big step this week. I can't say what it is, but I made a big step for the things that I've been working on this week.
Congratulations for
So that, yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, man. Be stepping. And yeah, so like I said, working on music, and then I finally finished the book Hero of Ages by Brandon
Oh, hey.
Sanderson.
I don't know. I'm clapping for you.
I'm feeling a
Congratulations.
post. What is it called? It's like a post-novel sadness because I feel empty. I read it so
PNS.
fast.
You're
'Cause
PNSing.
Yeah, I'm PNS. That's hilarious. Yeah, but bro, it's so crazy because like I read that book so fast because it was so interesting. The thing is, it was the last book of the trilogy.
So there's no
And-
more.
And yeah, there's no more of at
Wait,
least
so
that
you ran
arc
through
of the
1, 2,
story.
and 3 without even savoring it. Like you just zoomed through it all.
That's my
kind of guess
problem, bro.
who
I never
watch a
like
whole-
savor. I don't savor.
You watched a
Yeah.
whole TV show in
Bro,
a
it's like
weekend, every
binging
single
a
episode.
show. Exactly, man. That's me, bro. Let me tell you, like I said in a previous podcast, I was reading that book in the subway while I was walking, even sometimes, like because I just couldn't put it down. And yeah, man, it's done. And what a book! If you guys are into reading fantasy novels, I highly recommend the Mistborn series. Now there's a second like there's a part 2 or a second era to the story. It's 4 novels, but it's set in a completely different time as the first trilogy. So, like, I'll never experience those characters again, like in real time. Like, it's done. Anyway, whoever is listening to this podcast, if you have bro, this thing. Let me tell you something, Sam. This book has the potential to be a phenomenal show. Like, this book can be as good a show as Game of Thrones if it gets into production. It's so fantastic, man. I'm not even exaggerating, just because, like, I'm telling you, like, this thing could become like a Game of Thrones, because it has the right elements of being set in a time in the past, and then having like very, very interesting, like, and divisive characters, and then there's a magic system that's just so different from anything we've seen on TV. Okay, sorry, I sound like such a geek, but, like, bro, it's exciting stuff, and I can't wait for the TV show to be put in production. It has to happen.
I'm sure someone somewhere has already done one, and it's probably the most horrible thing in the world that you've ever watched. But yeah, it needs to be done.
No, it's you mean like made a pilot that hasn't
yeah,
didn't work,
yeah.
and so
Someone
it just
probably
never
has.
got put
or
into
even like
production.
some college kids with a
yeah, but
for
that's
their-
college kids, man.
for their university
college
assignments,
kids.
for their film school
Fuck the
assignment.
college kids, bro. Fuck the college kids, bro. Fuck that.
That's
shit.
crazy. Why are the college kids catching the street? Oh, that's ridiculous. But anyways, all right. I hope you find another book that speaks to your soul as much as me.
I'm anti J. Cole right now. Sorry.
Oh, I just got the reference. All right, cool. Oh, that's dope. That's dope. I was out
How
this week,
about you,
though.
Sam? I feel like you've had
Yeah, I was out this
you
week.
did
I was
some
out this
shit,
week.
man.
Sunday was the celebrity fight nights. We had talked about it last podcast, and it was everywhere now, but on social media and whatever. But yeah, so celebrity fight nights happened on Sunday night. Whole of Sunday I was working though. Was getting to the money. So I got to Alchemist kind of late. I was only able to catch one fight, which was the main event. So that was cool. But yeah, I was trying to get in. There's an issue with some of the ticketing. Maybe that was my fault. Don't try and get into places for free. Pay money for these things. Pay money. But I did get in. I would say, first off, I just like to commend those guys, because if you were sitting in the presser and you're just skeptical about things that happen in the Kenyan, in the Kenyan scene, influencers and this whole thing, then you wouldn't have had as high of a hope as you possibly would have. I got into that. First off, even just outside Alchemist, like, you could just hear guys were going crazy. The energy in that place was phenomenal. I'm going to say, like, it was real.
Yeah.
It was crazy. There was guys everywhere. There was, like in Alchemist, there's like at the top. There's a top section. There's two main stages. There's a stage completely at the top. You have to climb a bunch of stairs, and then there's like almost like a loungy area, and then now there's the bottom where the bottom stages and the bar and whatnot. Layers. There was layers of people.
Where were you?
everywhere. I was at the bottom and I couldn't go anywhere. I just found a spot to stand and I stood there, getting bumped into by every single person in that whole space, which is kind of annoying. But that's what happens when you go late. But no, it was full of human beings, and everyone in there was just hype. Let me not say everyone. Most people were hyped. The guys were banging on the cages. They were yelling at the top of their voices. It was electric. It was actually very, very, very exciting to be in that space, I guess. From what I heard, the first fights were good, apart from maybe one that didn't really do well. I think the Albizi, not the Albizi. What's his name? Albi. I don't know where I went to Albi's, because we were talking about it before. The Albi fight. Some say that it wasn't as great. I don't even know whether I didn't see it, and I have not seen like clips about it. But then the other fights, they said
that's not surprising.
Yeah, we kind of predicted that. But then the other fights, they said were really good. Jezza and Vic Max. Like, I was watching their fights. Someone was playing it somewhere that I was, and I was like, oh, okay. That's what made me seem like, okay, because half of me wanted to be like, oh man, like, I don't have to go all, because I was on the other side of Nairobi. I don't have to go all the way and not get like a proper fight. But once I saw Jezza and Vic Max going at it, I was like, okay, let me actually see what I can catch. That was cool.
Wait, so it was being televised?
No. It wasn't. I think it was being streamed, but don't quote me on that. What was going around was clips. What was going around was clips.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Definitely. So I caught like just about the announcing of Barak and Lumu, like when they were just getting to the ring. So I get there and the fight starts. Ding, ding, ding. And it was a fight. Like they were actually going at each other. Like it was very entertaining. Very, very entertaining. Barak Jacuzzis ended up winning. Landed a couple of good blows. And so he won by quite a bit actually.
I was wrong. Fine. I was wrong.
Yeah. Lumu was all talk in this situation. They should have wagered something big. But no, it was a very like afterwards I was talking to one of the organizers and I was like, you guys like really have something here. Like this could actually like, and the place was like really full. Alchemist was like full. So now imagine the next editions. Like Alchemist will probably not be able to hold them. So they probably have to plan it somewhere.
It's most likely going to become a thing. I've already seen a lot of other celebrities start like hopping on this bandwagon and start being like, oh, so and so should fight so and so. Yeah, so it's definitely gonna pick up some steam. Okay, well, shout out to them. And I mean, it's entertaining. People love celebrity boxing, so let's see where it goes from here.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Shout out to them. And shout out to The Alchemist. The Alchemist has always been a hub for
creativity,
innovation.
Yeah, innovation and within the creative space. Yeah, those guys are doing. I think they're doing a really good job.
And also,
in that sense.
And also gentrification.
Okay. There's obviously a segue because where did that come from? It's obviously a segue. Yes, segue us into what we're going to talk about.
No, but seriously, everybody usually associates Alchemist and like a certain demographic of people who go there. Anyway, the segue I'm hinting at is, so there's been a lot of chatter on the web. On the web. I sound so ancient. Who even says on the web?
You probably still have a Yahoo email. Probably still on Hotmail. On the web. The
AOL.
World Wide Web.
About AOL. So essentially, there's this girl who always gives think pieces on the internet. She's called Natasha.
Yeah.
And bro, yeah. I always find the creators who do think pieces very interesting because it's
being bold with your opinion online is just kind of it's just like it's a tough.
It requires a lot of energy. Yeah. In my opinion, it requires a lot of energy because then you have to go back and forth with people on the comments, and then it's
business,
just like it's always. It's so tough. It's so tough. But anyway, she talks about a wide range of things. But in specific, this time she decided to talk about her feelings towards the R&B music that's coming out in the country. And the specific words she used was gentrification in Kenya and Kenyan R&B music, kind of tying them together. And it sparked a debate online because everybody was either, well, of course, people either agreed with her or disagreed. And she does raise a few points. So I'm going to start with the points, Sam, that I find that I semi-agreed with.
Let's do it.
What does this have to do with gentrification? Why am I thinking about this? I'm thinking about this because I feel like when it comes to like upper middle class kids, upper middle class kids, they will refuse to listen to Kenyan music unless it sounds American. Like, unless it sounds like it is literally not from Kenya, they will be like, I am not listening to that. And then when it comes to R&B, it's such an easy way for them to kind of claim that they're listening to Kenyan music or like only appreciate it because it doesn't sound like Kenyan music.
So the statement I agree with was when she said that there are a few people that she knows who only listen to Kenyan music if it sounds Western. Now, the only thing, like, I would agree with that statement because I have actually met people like that. Like I've Sam, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've met people who have explicitly said to me, I don't really listen to Kenyan music, and but like if it sounds like Western, like then fine. Like I've definitely
Has a
interacted with
hint,
people like that.
hint
So that's
of Western in it, then that's when you like. I don't know. And what is it about that? Like,
so that's
why?
a valid.
Where do you think that is?
I don't know, man. It's to some element, to some degree. There's a lot of brainwashing there, I would say, because it goes to the fact that a lot of people just consume primarily Western media and associate that with greatness and don't want to associate greatness with the stuff that's produced in Kenya, I would think.
So then when you listen, so when you listen to like more local stuff, it sounds off in terms of like different ways, in terms of quality, identity, or rather what you identify with as a person, maybe. I don't know. That's an interesting little.
Yeah, there's a self-hatred within that.
You're going self-hatred. Okay.
And I think so. I think there's a self-hatred within that, like being like, nah, the Kenyan artists are whack or some shit like that. Like there's something about that that's a bit self-loathing. And if you want to go deep with it, all leads to colonialism. And
Oh.
like in Kenyan high schools where they would be like, and this happened in my high school. So this
Yeah.
is something that happened in my high school where they'd be like, you can only speak Kiswahili on one specific day, which was
Wait,
Friday.
for real?
Friday was
Like,
for
they
real.
pick a
This
day
is
for you
for
to
real.
speak Swahili. That's ridiculous. In your own
Yeah,
country.
would get. I'm telling you, in my high school, like we would get punished for
People
speaking
Swahili
in
is just
Sheng or
dumb. It's the
whatever.
dumbest idea I've ever heard. One day.
I know. That's crazy. And bro, like there's a lot of places that did this. It's not just my school. And I guess that goes down to like the whole colonial attitude of like you speaking
Swahili
in
bad,
English.
English good. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a thing. It's a thing for sure. And there's people like that who only consume Western media and view Kenyan creatives as less than.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, for those reasons, because I've seen it myself, I agree with that specific part of Natasha's video. And I think it's something that we actively need to change. And I think we need more people invested in listening to Kenyan music and just not only like glamorizing like the Western stuff.
Yeah. I mean, but I do with that, I think I still want to give a little bit of space to people who just necessarily don't vibe as much with it. Like, of course, that's like, it's almost like a curse word to say that. But then I think that sometimes people might identify with what they identify with, not necessarily. Now, I would say a major part of it could be the whole racial factor, and our history as Africa and whatnot, and that all that serious stuff. I think there's other people who, like, if you keep listening to Western music, like let's just say you just keep listening to Western music continuously, that becomes your taste factor. And if we're going against that, then we are saying that people can't have, like, because if you come from a specific region, you can't have a specific type of taste. Like, you have to have the taste of the city.
No, but that's different though. That's different because being inspired by something is completely different from denouncing something else just because you're inspired.
Okay, I mean,
by
if you
this
throw
one
denounce into that, then it changes the whole.
But denouncing,
scene.
but that's what it is though. For people who are like, I will not listen to Kenyan music because I think this is better. Isn't that denouncing?
Yeah, so, it's close to it. It's close to it. Yeah, and I get that. Yeah, that's yeah.
Okay, in my mind that because okay, and I think what you're saying is like a point that I think we should reference like down the road, because I do agree with you. People, like, we're all allowed space to be inspired by things.
By what we're inspired
and we
by.
don't always
Yeah.
we don't always only have to be inspired by the things that are in close proximity to us. Because then that's boring. Life is boring at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that's something that we should reference later in the conversation. Now, I want to go to the parts in this conversation that she started where I disagree with her. And to be honest, I disagreed with her more than I did agree with her with what she had to say. So I'm gonna play a clip, just a small clip from what she said, and then we'll get back to the conversation.
There's definitely like artists who make, to me, what I think is Kenyan R&B music. I was also asking myself today if Tarab counts as East African R&B. But that being said, I don't think that putting Kiswahili over R&B makes it Kenyan R&B. Like R&B beats makes it Kenyan R&B. I'm just like I don't. But my issue is that people will listen to that and be like, this is great, this is awesome. And I'm just like, you only think it's awesome because it sounds American. Like, or like westernized. Let me not say it, because R&B is so like it's just because it sounds westernized. It's a Western genre. It doesn't sound. And so I don't like it when that's the only time Kenyan, like, oh my God, like this is so different from like Kenyan music usually. Like, I don't like that.
Okay, Sam. So in this section, she kind of mentions that Kenyans who speak or sing in Kiswahili over R&B beats is kind of not doing it for her, because it's still kind of pandering to the Western themes of music. So what do you think about like her sentiments?
Yeah, I think I'm with you in terms of just disagreeing. It's layered though, right? Because there's artists speaking Swahili, singing, rapping in Swahili, speaking Swahili over, Western style music. Now, some people would say that, okay, like this is much better than the alternative, which is just solely and exclusively sounding like you're from the West. Like there's a little bit of culture being put into the music. Now, is that like a token thing where it's just like, okay, hey, I'm just trying to rep Kenya, but I'm still very much identifying with a Western sound? We don't know. You have to. So I disagree. And if we look at authentically, if you look at the Nigerian market, which is the Nigerian music rather, which is another example of this. Although they've not really focused on the Western sound, but then they've definitely. If you hear a Nigerian track, you're hearing them speak Yoruba, you're hearing them speak like Pidgin English on the joints, and anyone who listens to that in whatever context will say this is a Nigerian song. So then why is it that we don't think the same about the Kenyan?
I mean, listen, like Burna Boy has been famous for sampling, like straight up sampling from like Western tracks and adding his own spin to that. Why is that not problematic? Why is that not authentically Nigerian?
Yeah, on the reverse of that, being featured on like pop songs with like pop artists, Ed Sheeran and them, and also still sounding that authentically. So yeah, it's a weird take, and it's a weird take because of just the whole conversation. I feel like it's a really big identity issue. As much as we are currently enjoying what we are getting in terms of the Kenyan scene, I think that we've been plagued by an identity issue for so long that it's sort of bleeding into. Because then she gets into like the Kenyan sound, and essentially is what is the conversation that comes out of there. And like, what is she says identifiers? Like, what is an identifier of the Kenyan sound? Like, what does that what does that mean?
I agree with you, because what is the identifier of the Kenyan sound? And that's why I feel like in this clip she really contradicts herself multiple times, because if Kenyans are speaking in Kiswahili or singing in Sheng or singing in their own vernacular languages over... Yeah, isn't that the identifier that you're looking for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if somebody... Like, when you listen to Kina Watendawili or Costa Ojuang or Charisma, like, on some of these beats, and they're speaking in Luo or Luya.
Yeah.
Like, bro... That's the identifier that sets us apart from other music markets. And I think it's ridiculous because if you look at like the Nigerian scene, like you brought up, a lot of them, they will, like, if you listen to the Afrobeat as it is today, or Afrobeats as they are today,
Yeah.
a lot of it is also really, really influenced from the outside. You know, the Nigerians, like, the Nigerian scene added a lot of stuff from Amapiano. They borrow a lot of chords from R&B as well. That's how the whole Alte scene even blew up initially. It's borrowing these things, but then
Some of the themes in the verses and some of the things they talk about is borrowed. It's borrowed culture. It's borrowed culture that's integrated into our culture.
But for me, Sam, the thing that makes it Nigerian music in this example is because of who is doing it and what they're saying and how they're saying it. And that's what makes it authentic to where they're from. Like I feel like there's this whole idea that we should just like make our own thing, which by the way is not a bad thing. But you can't put everybody in that box. Like I love, like, for example, listening to Kasiva Mutua. Like what a Kenyan sounding project that is, right?
Yep.
And it's amazing that we have people in our industry who are doing that, right? But Sam, it would be boring, in my opinion, if everybody
It's
only
very one-dimensional,
did that.
isn't it? Yeah. We're all doing
It would
the
be
exact
too
same.
one-dimensional.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like Sam, if you listen to Buttros's music, right? Especially like the very first
Sorry,
things
I'm interrupting you, but I think I saw Butchos at the.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I saw Butchos and his whole crew at the. Of course, they went to support their guy.
Yeah, because ADF, they had to be there to support, and they won Kwanzaa, so they must have had a party afterwards. But bro, I'm just saying, like, you listen to Butchos's music, especially the first things he used to release.
Yeah.
Bro, he was super inspired by like Kina Lil Pump, who are hopping on like the distorted beats, like the D-Rose. I don't know if you ever even listened to Hand on My Wrist. Okay, but I feel like that's where Butros got most of his influence.
Yeah.
But bro, isn't Butros such a Kenyan artist?
I mean, when you listen to
and
him
he's hopping
now,
on,
but you see, there'll be
Yeah.
people who listen to Butchos and say that he's trying to sound like a Western artist too much, like when he raps. So that's the thing. We need to realize that we're talking about a specific. This whole conversation is about a specific. It's the Nairobi scene for the most part. It's a very specific corner of
for the
music.
most part.
Yeah, because there's music. On the video on the video she mentioned like Tarab music. There's music all around Nairobi, and those, of course, we don't have these conversations about because those are authentically integrated within the cultures.
She almost brought into question whether Tarab influence is East African in itself or something.
Yeah.
At which point I'm like, bro, like, but this conversation is bigger than just music, because in my opinion, I feel like people are very, very multidimensional,
Yeah.
right? And as a people, we are influenced by so many things. So it
We live. I mean, with the internet, we live in a global world, right? You have cultures in directly in front of you.
what is Kenyan? What is the Kenyan sound there? Because look, if you even look at Caliph Records, even the way it's titled, Caliph Records, the beats they were hopping off on were like California, like Dr. Dre style beats. But if you ask Natasha, so in my opinion, if you present Natasha with a major song from back in the day, she should reject that. In my opinion, like from just based off of what she said.
Yeah.
Yeah. That should like what Kina Juakali were doing is just not authentic Kenyan music and should be rejected from the atmosphere. If we're strictly adhering to the words that were said in that video.
Yeah, I mean, we borrow and then we adapt our culture to it. You borrow, you adapt your culture to it. If you just borrow and then you're trying to imitate exactly like picture for picture every single thing that's happening, that's when it's like, okay.
Then that's problematic.
But then to some extent, you're always going to insert some of your culture into the music. But this whole, do we have a Kenyan sound? No, we don't. We don't have a specific Kenyan sound. We have Kenyan sounds. We have a couple of sounds that we identify with collectively, but there's no one specific identifier yet. It could still come up, but there's no one specific identifier yet. I think the most important thing is culture. Because music is selling culture. Art is selling culture. Dance is selling culture. It's all selling culture. Culture is the goal. and sort of music is or whatever medium it is what we use to get their film, everything. So
Let me tell you, culture is such a complex thing that even I cannot even begin to like fathom. If you even look at small things like the food that we eat, if we're going strictly by, let's just we're just strictly Kenyan, we're just staying strictly Kenyan, then we wouldn't be eating things like chapatis, for example. Are you gonna take chapatis away from us? Are you gonna take a chapati away from me because we're gonna say, oh yeah, that was brought to us by the Indians? You know what I mean? But things like pilau, biryani, like, but then you see these things. The reason I bring them up is because they get so integrated into Kenyan culture, it becomes Kenyan in itself because of how often we've made chapatis in our households, how often Kenyans have enjoyed like things that were essentially brought to us from foreigners, and it becomes part of our culture. You look at even the Kiswahili as a language. There's so many words that are brought into the Arabic, language.
It's
linguistically that come from different places. The word shule, for example, that's a German word for school. The word meza, that's a Portuguese word for table. But those are things that we see as part of our language, but they come from elsewhere, and the reason why it's us is because we integrated it into the way we understand and interface with our world, and it's now part of us. And I think
that's true.
Sorry, go ahead.
And I also think that this angle of conversation it doesn't help. Like, it's part of the problem because it always
it's
aims to
divisive.
divide. Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. It always aims to divide. It always aims to identify this is different versus this and these are different. So rather than acknowledging that there's a difference, it's pointing out that there's a difference. I feel like that those two are distinct. Like, you can acknowledge that, okay, there's a difference here. However, there's a difference between the Kenyan culture and the Western culture. But we can see something, we can see they're trying to be at least some sort of a bridge, or they're being a bridge already. Versus saying, okay, there's a Kenyan culture and there's a Western culture, and any sort of integration is presenting a new
problematic.
Problem. It's
bro,
part of
man,
the
that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, bro. I think the beauty about being Kenyan is, and I said this on my Instagram, is we're a people who have been very, very influenced by a lot of things that are going on around. Because Kenya is a very liberal country, to be honest, right? Like, we haven't had much like regulation when it comes to like the internet, for example, if you compare us to other like African countries and stuff like that. So Kenyans are actually very tapped in to a lot of things that are happening in the world, right? But I think what makes Kenyans very beautiful, in my estimation, is that as much as we are able, and I think before even I get to that point, I'm sorry, I have points within points, and it's just a lot to unpack. I know there's a lot to unpack. But you see, the thing is, back in the day, I used to see this as a weakness.
Okay.
Because I would be like, the thing about Kenyan is like we're too all over the place. We have all these kids doing either trap or shrub or R&B or gengeton or Afro beats or kapuka or all the like. And I used to be like, why can't we focus on something? You know what I mean? But I've realized what I thought was our weakness is actually our greatest strength. Our greatest strength lies in our diversity, in our ability to integrate different things, make it Kenyan in a way that we genuinely resonate with these things, and then churn out our own identity within that, or carve out our own identity within these things. And I think that's beautiful. And I think the distinction is, like, if you're comparing artist A, who's ultimately just, doing things to be Western, or artist B, who's inspired by Western themes but puts in their like influence. And by the way, it's so impossible to not put in your influence into something because we're Kenyan. So even just by being Kenyan, you're already automatically going to put some of your Kenyanness into these songs.
Yeah.
Like
For the most part.
without
for the most
even
part, yeah.
trying.
I think there's
For
some
the
people
most part.
who specialize in running away from their culture, but keep that to myself. For the most part, yeah. There's going to be some aspect. Even just how you interpret what's going on out there is going to be different because you're interpreting it from your cultural context. You know, so all in all, listen. I like the fact that at least there's people thinking about this kind of stuff and starting this kind of conversations. I think the conversations are important to be had. Might not necessarily agree with the takes, but the importance, the conversations are really important.
Yeah, bro, it got me heated, man. I was just there.
Can you
on
imagine
my
why are you getting heated
phone.
watching a TikTok? Just calm down. Calm down. Put your phone
No, it's
down.
just because
Go outside.
it's because you see, like Natasha is a very smart individual for sure. Like you can see from the way she strings her opinions and other things. I think one thing, and I don't want to. One criticism I would say would also be attached to age, and I think this is something I've observed in myself as well. Because she's very young; she's only 20. And even in myself, there's a lack of experience sometimes that I speak with, where I don't really understand completely. I think the more you grow up, the more you realize that life is just not black and white. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you realize there's so many gray areas, and you can't, bro. When you're young, you judge people a lot for the decisions that they make, or you see things as black and white. You're like, this person is completely horrible or whatever. But I feel like when you grow up, like you begin to take into account like the full pictures of things. You begin to see like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and in addition to that, I think as you grow up, you also begin to shrink. Like if you grow in a wise way, like you begin to see how how the whole main character thing kind of just starts to lift because you start to appreciate things happening around you and people happening around you. So it's not just all about me and my view of the world is the only view of the world that is. And that's something that happens, but that can happen when you're some I know
Bro,
some
and that's something that even me
older people
personally
don't
am
know that.
growing out of.
Yeah.
Bro, but it's hard. It's hard to grow out of it. It's something that you really need to like actively try and accommodate and see things from other people's views. But anyway, to be honest, it's good that we're even having this conversation. It's good that it's sparked like something. So if anything, shout out to her for putting that energy into the world.
True. Let's get into. Hey, it's Grammy season again. It's Grammy season, and the nominations are out. First off, I did see a lot of people submitted their. I think it was a couple of months ago where we're just seeing a whole bunch of people just when submissions were on there. I mean, we're going on like a whole bunch of people submitting. So shout out to everybody who submitted their projects for Grammy considerations. We did have one nomination. And
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Talking about gentrification and Kenyan R&B.
Speaking
but
about
look
Kenyan
where,
R&B,
look where
this is the perfect example, isn't it?
I don't know. Anyway, let me not speak too much.
Don't speak too much. But shout out to Zinnia, man. Shout out to Zinnia and her work on
Shout out to her, man.
Tiana Taylor's The Escape Room. Escape Room. Sorry for getting that wrong. Has gotten some nomination, Best R&B Album. And of course, she did help with the producing of that album in terms of the songwriting and vocals and whatnot. So I mean it's pretty big. It's big and it's very cool as well. So I mean, let me see who else is on there.
Pink Panthers. That's the other.
No. I'm
Kenyan
talking
who's
about the
on
best
there. So
R&B
shout out
category.
to-
I'm trying to see if
Oh,
if she
sorry.
gets it.
Oh,
we have,
I thought
we
you
have
were-
Giveon, Beloved. I mean, that was a cool project. Why not more Coco Jones? Sorry, Mama. You're not getting that. The Crown
Is
by
Leon Thomas on there?
Yeah, Mutt. See, the big competition is Mutt.
I'm
It's
sorry.
Tiana versus
I'm
Mutt,
sorry.
I think.
Let me just be honest.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do
Mutt
that.
is clearing.
Don't do that.
I'm sorry, but I'm sorry. I'm just being realistic. I'm sorry, but Mutt by Leon Thomas might be one of the great R&B projects to come out in the past 5 years. Is that's not a stretch?
It
to say.
definitely
Like,
did have a lot of buzz, but we're not
it's a-
talking about why. We're talking
it's a
about our
good-
own. Let's
sorry.
Let's keep it in the family. Let's keep it in the family, bro. Look at you
But
jumping.
no.
outside.
But I think no. But for me, no. Okay, but for me, I think Xenia even being
Yeah, I know.
in
Yeah,
this
the
conversation
nomination
is
is
phenomenal.
just as I mean, getting the Grammy would be great, but I think the nomination is for me. I think the nomination is as good as the win. Is as good.
It's
as the
it's
win.
as good as a win.
And I'm not just saying that.
It's
Like,
as good as a
fantastic.
win,
It's
man.
fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I wanted to. I have a little bit of a beef. We actually have a bit of a beef. I wanted to just jump into the best African. I mean, the African categories. The best African music performance and best global music album. I'm just going to start with the best global music album. I think Burna Boy should be up here, but No Sign of Weakness. That album did not do much. It didn't seem like it made as much of a wave as it did, but Burna Boy is always going to be nominated for something. Best African music performance, Love by Burna Boy. Then we have With You, Davido featuring Omale. I like that Omale has gotten a Grammy now. That's pretty cool. Hope and Love by Eddie Kenzo and Martyn. Eddie Kenzo is East African. And then Gimme That, Ira Star featuring Wizkid. And then Push to Start, Tyler. Afam, how you feel? How do you feel about this?
I mean, for me, I feel like there's just like a quota, and it's like, yo, let's just
there's a couple of
appease
names.
Burna Boy,
Yeah.
Wizkid, and Davido, and now also Tyler and Ira Star, and then that's it. I feel like Africa has way more to offer, and to be honest, I think we need
more,
like
bro. Way more.
we need our own like high stakes, high end, massive like award show, just to because I think what this is doing is really dumbing down our industry at this point. It was really cool the first days when we started seeing like Wizkid, Davido, and Burna Boy in this international conversation. That was amazing because they broke boundaries. But now it's lazy.
You know what it was? That was before the perceived marketing was to the West. Because now we perceive these guys as marketing or making music specifically, not music. It doesn't feel like they're making music for Africa. It feels like they're making music to participate in the Western markets. And so when for me at least, when we start seeing them being nominated a lot, then you're like, okay, they're just appeasing. While there's other people who are making music for Africans, or let me not say for Africans, but making music in a more, let me use my words wisely here because I could get in trouble. There's many more artists that we can pick from who are making excellent music, making music that matters, making music that's impactful on different levels than just the 5, 6, 7 names that we're used to. I don't know if that ever changes, honestly. I don't think that changes.
Like I said, it changes if we start to take control of the narrative and have more award shows that are on the same level, but like just for Africans,
I'm surprised you didn't bring up Pink Panthers as you being her part of her marketing team. You didn't bring her up as being part of the Kenyans that were nominated.
No, I did. I literally
You
said
said
that
it.
earlier.
Sorry.
Yes,
I
but
assumed that.
shout out to
My bad.
shout out to Victoria, man. Listen,
Shout out to Victoria. All right.
just representing us well, man.
Yeah, holding it down. Yeah, man. It's speaking of music, let's get into music. Let's continue music.
Speaking of music, well, let me start. So shout out to the people who were able to release some music. What I listened to was, speaking of Xenia, maybe two.
It dropped.
With Ukweli.
Very rare.
It was a very chill. It was a very chill listen.
Yeah.
You know, it's just very chill. This is like where you're like, it's a Friday. Yeah, like let's say you decided to stay home on a Friday night. You light up some candles, you know, you dim the lights and you just chill. That's what it felt like. Just
You're at home by
chill.
yourself lighting up candles. That's a fire hazard.
Yes, Sam. Yes, I am. What's wrong with that?
Oh,
What's
man.
wrong
So when
with
you
me
light the
doing
candles, do you
that
open the
and
windows?
having
Because
some
that's
me
carbon
time?
dioxide or whatever it is, that carbon monoxide. What is it? What comes out from a
Oh
candle?
my god! Why are you rationalizing
See,
this?
the
issue? Anyway,
problem with you is that you never
um,
rationalize anything. It's just vibes. You need to rationalize some things. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
okay, so I listened to that. So shout out to them. I watched the video to Urao by Charisma and Watenda Willie. These guys are just having
Yeah, it's
fun,
just some guys
and
having a
it's good to
blast
see.
on set. Oh man.
It's good to see
Yeah.
that. I listened to Afande Prise by Sean MMG. Good to see the Genge, but the Urban Tune guys still working. I also listened to Northside Kid by Elsie Wameo. Even just by us listening this, you can see how diverse our industry is. There's just so many people doing so many different things.
Yeah.
So shout out to Elsie. And then I wanna shout out this is interesting. Tabasco by Miseda. It was the beat is hard. Miseda was trying some shit, so I respect it. Let's see what Miseda can do. He was over there sounding like Mavo
Yeah.
Swago on the
Sounding very West
piano.
African. That's becoming a trend too. I'm starting to see a lot of artists doing, at least speaking pidgin on tracks now and using some Nigerian phrases. We're seeing you guys.
But listen, them they do, but they also do the same. Like, remember the song with Ira Star and
Yeah.
London, where she is like Nakupenda
Okay,
randomly.
Yeah.
Hey, like, listen, it's good to see people mixing things, in my opinion. And I think the last song I want to say, and we played this in the intro, but Physical by Ochungulo Family and Ethic, the bars, like, the one-liners are just hilarious to me.
man.
So shout out to
Those
them.
guys make funny music. That's what it is. It's funny music. Yeah, just a couple of mentions for me. Apart from the ones that we both listen to. Swakacha by Ali Fresh. Featuring Sumbua. I think if you're big in the scene, you probably have had Sumbua, DJ Mura in Tinador, and then Baba by Ali Fresh and Polaris Pauline. Those two songs have been out for a while, and I do hear them being rotated in tracks. But 7-song project. Apart from that, he's given us 1, 2, 3, 4 more joints. 4, 5 more joints. Iwa Tajiri is on there, DJ Mura, Brains, and Paps. Shout out to every single person who's part of that project. It's really cool. Let me see. What else did I listen to? Oh, there's Kilengeta, stay in Unz. Kilengeta by Big Nyags, One Down, and Zipinyumo as well. Shout out to them. Again, part of that whole Safari Unz creative, and we're planning on releasing some music soon. So watch out for that. But yeah, I also want to mention Mchezo wa Jiji by Mwana and for Mr. Frank White. They worked on 4 songs together. Pretty interesting listen as well. And yeah, man, there was a lot of music out. DJ Pro Luigi dropped a joint. Blinky Bill was part of the whole Nature project, and a bunch of other things. Shad Muziki with Anea, Jivu, Hold On. Yeah, people are releasing music. I like it. I like to see it. It's good that we have some, we have some variety to listen to. The pick of the week, though. Let's get to our pick of the
Yes,
week.
sir. What do you want to listen to, or what do you want to play for our listeners today?
But going back to that Nature project, I think we talked about it. If you go back a couple of, maybe last year or the year before, I think it was last year because that's when it started, early last year. The Nature project that Blinky Bill was a part of, they recently released a bunch of songs, and some of those songs featured some Kenyan artists. Blinky Bill is on there again, like I said, with Martyn. He features there. Then we have Fancy Fingers is all over this project. Fancy Fingers and Philad Lozi have a song called Kot Biro. And then we have now what will be our pick of the week, Life Goes On with BN and Fancy Fingers. The reason I want to pick this one is because this is kind of the vibe that I've been on lately. Is that's the smooth house deep house vibe, just like really cool beats. And I think Bien did well, man. I haven't heard him too much on EDM. There's that one song I think that he released with a producer last year or earlier this year. I don't know. But yeah, he's on this one with Fancy Fingers, and I really enjoy it. So for this week, we're going to be playing Life Goes On, and it's brought to you by Bien Fancy Fingers as part of the Nature Project.
Oh yeah yeah yeah. Oh yeah yeah yeah. Oh yeah yeah yeah. Gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up. So you gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up. Oh, life goes on without you. Life goes on without you. Oh, life goes on without you. Life goes on without you. Take some time to live again, 'cause you're only here for a short while then you're gone. Take some time to say a prayer, and nobody knows tomorrow. Take some time to live again, 'cause you're only here for a short while then you're gone. Take some time to say a prayer, and nobody knows tomorrow. Time is a healer, pain is a teacher, music is a stress reliever, the Bible a redeemer. Make love no war. What are you fighting for? What are you living for? Is it worth dying for? Life goes on without you. Life goes on without you. Life goes on without you. Life goes on without you.
That was Bien and Fancy Fingers as part of the Nature Project, who donate part of their, or rather, that's what they say. They donate part of their, I think it's 50% or 70%. On Spotify it says 70%, but I've also seen some people say 50% of the money made from the music or streaming, I don't know which one it is, going to some cause. I'm just going to put it that way, going to some human rights cause, which is a very cool idea. So I think it's registered in the UK, Wales, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, man, shout out to them. Shout out to BN Fancy Figures for getting on there. And that's that.
And that's that. Shout out to you guys as well for listening to the podcast as always. And
Thank you.
listen, as you guys know, I don't know why Sam is whispering over there, but as you guys know, we started this podcast because we want to see
Thanking the fans.
Kenyan artists get played more and paid more. I think, we want to see this Kenyan music thing.
Yeah.
And we are seeing it in real time. We're seeing Kenyan artists being nominated for Grammys. We're seeing the boundaries begin to break, and I love that for us. If you're new here, I like to do the 3 C's, which is a mantra that I devised for myself to kind of become a better artist. The first C is confidence. You need to be confident in your work because that's the first thing people will interface with, and that's what's going to convince people to support you. Number 2, consistency, which in my opinion is better than talent. If you're consistent, you are going to make it. And number 3, craft. Always work on your craft. Every single day, try and do something that adds to your creativity. Yo, Sam, that was we did it. We did it. We made a podcast.
We did it. We recorded dialogue.
We recorded dialogue.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to it.
Oh,
We will
man.
be back with more recorded dialogue in episode 157.
Easy, we out.